Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. I'm so glad you're with us to stay curious today. This is June 4th, 2025, and we've had a rainy day here in Titusville, Florida, where our Stay Curious studios are located inside the American Space Museum, just less than 10 miles away from those mighty launch pads at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center across the Indian River. The Indian River is just 3 blocks away. We're so happy that you all joined us today, me being myself and Marty Winkle. Hi, Marty. We're creeping up on 1,300 episodes in 5 years, my friend. It just feels like yesterday in some ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, in other ways, it feels like it's 2000.
Exactly. But thank you so much. We've had a lot of fun with this. We've gotten a lot of friends that we now consider family, you all watching our program today. And let me go to my back. We're going to talk a little bit about backyard astronomy at the end. We got two astronaut birthdays that are really still active astronauts, popular as well. And I'm in a laid back mood. We were hoping to get Alex Carl of ESA, the Eurocom friend of ours, and is in town for the launch of the Hungarian astronaut that's with ESA. Tibor met some Hungarians just 10 minutes ago, Marty. Actually, 5 minutes ago, touring our museum. And they're excited to be at the launch complex, the press site for the launch, which is going to be Tuesday at about 8:22 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes here. Just always the excitement going on. We've actually got a landing on the moon by a private company spacecraft, Hakutu R, mission number 2. Okay, and we'll probably talk about that tomorrow. It's going to be at 3 o'clock, a little after 3 o'clock tomorrow. Another landing on the moon. Update that when I get into my astronomy segment here. But been busy today, always busy. And Gabriel Rothblatt, the executive director of our foundation, and myself, always out there now hustling our nonprofit. We need uh, lots of money, bushel baskets full of $100 bills. I used to say all the time. Remember that, Marty? Here in our museum, and we certainly put it to good use. Our salaries of our 4 employees are very low compared to other like museums in the county and state. So nobody's getting rich. We're just sustaining what we can do here for you to come and visit. People like you, Mitch Rothman and Steve Jokums and Dave Stange, Mark Thel, I see lining up here, have all been in our museum and enjoyed what we feel is a unique institution celebrating the birth of America's space age here in its delivery room, Brevard County. Marty chose a look. What is this? It's a galaxy, of course. What galaxy is that? I'm just gonna let you think about that for a while. What galaxy is our green screen there? Kind of got a sloping, like little slide type of situation going on, maybe there. But I'll tell you what that galaxy is here uh, as we get into our Stay Curious Backyard Astronomy segment here in a few minutes. So thank you to the Ramanujam family supporting us financially and spiritually wherever they go with their gohistorytravel.org website, also on Facebook. They are a unique family, Rama, Mal, and Bharat, their son, going around the world, literally. And they were at Shuttle Fest, and then also saw them at the Astronaut Hall of Fame festivities over the weekend. That was wonderful to partake in. And one of the expenses of traveling like they do are the rental cars, Marty, and just a lot of money spent on rental cars and, of course, airline flights. And uh, you will not be disappointed reading what they have to say about places they've gone to, like where Van Gogh was born. They do a lot of shuttle stories. Bharat has been to every institution that all of the Hubble astronauts have gone their elementary schools, their high schools, their colleges. So quite in-depth and unique. GoHistoryTravel.org. So let's get into the birthdays that we love celebrating astronaut birthdays, as you know. Mostly shuttle astronauts out there having birthdays. Those Apollo astronauts having birthdays are usually in their 80s or even 90s. So the two moonwalkers, Charlie Duke, and the two youngest moonwalkers, and Charlie Duke and Apollo 17 Harrison Schmitt, will turn 90 this year, folks. And then you've only got Buzz Aldrin, who's 95, and David Scott, who's 92, left to talk about what it's like to have that gritty soil in your hands, because you know they did inside the lunar module. They were covered with it. Anyway, let's get off with our happy birthdays. First, Shane Kimbrough, shown here with Birthday Boy. Shane Kimbrough's there with Bert Dicht. Bert, great to see you. Looking so wonderful there underneath the Saturn V rocket, that famous Saturn V building there. So, Shane Kimbrough, happy 58th birthday to you. Talk about that in a second. And the other astronaut we're going to talk about is Shannon Walker, celebrating the big 6-0 today. And Shannon is married to astronaut and is Australian-born Andy Thomas. There they are. Somebody caught him at a airport, I would imagine. Happy 6-0 to you, Shannon Walker, NASA astronaut, most recently aboard the International Space Station as Commercial Crew 1 member, born in Houston, Texas, June 4th, 1965. She graduated in 1983 from Westbury High School in Houston. There she is waving the colors on the International Space Station, just like we do here every day at the American Space Museum. Her first mission was aboard a Soyuz spacecraft. So she's been on a Soyuz, a shuttle, and then a Crew Dragon. All right. And her shuttle was STS-27. Oh, she's in mission control on there. Not sure if she did have a shuttle astronaut, come to think of it. She was on Expedition 64, and for 11 days was the third female commander of the ISS. And she is an active astronaut, okay? And, oh, I got that out of sequence, Marty, that picture of Ginger there. There's a couple other pictures of Shannon that we used to do old school way when Marty would zoom in on her there. And still an active astronaut, so maybe she's in queue for another expedition up there. We want to say at the beginning, and this is out of sequence, thank you, Ginger Chin, for a great conversation. If you missed it yesterday, it was rather long, but goes by quickly with this upbeat lady, born in Mongolia, in the city where Genghis Khan was from, she said. And here she is. She did a study, her doctorate candidate dissertation study is about the minds of astronauts, okay? And I'm trying to think of the word to use for that study, Marty. Cognitive thinking of astronauts. Brewster Shaw is right there, and his wife is on the other side of her, and behind is Joe Tanner and his wife. And they met at Telluride, Colorado, she said, over a year ago. 10 points, Marty, if you can remember what the dog's name was.
I'll take 0 points.
I would say Mongo, but no, it's something cute like that, though. So one of us will remember that. Hey, Steve Jokums and Gary Gerald. Carlton Bailey, we're getting a little moisture. Yes, sirree. And Marky UCX back at work on Wednesday. Had a great visit to Florida. Glad you got it safely back there, brother. Let your heels cool off a little bit there from all the traveling you've been doing. And hi, Mitch Rothman. I know you read my emails to you. Mitch is going to start a campaign for our space memorabilia store. so we can sell some space memorabilia to the public and you online on eBay. We'll get that. We're getting that cranked up again to get some more cash flow coming in here. And with a new person, Marvel Luca Empire 33. Hello from Florida. And there are our Hungarian friends, Space Junkie Uratsa Urutaz, I'm going to say. And thank you for meeting you very much there. And Jim Christian recommended our museum. 3 Hungarians in the museum across the door over there. They say our museum is truly a gem, and everybody that's been here knows that. And we need someone to deposit some gems here to keep our doors open. And I'm not kidding. All right, this is a month by month almost situation sometimes. We got some breathing room right now, but we don't want to dip into our savings or CDs and stuff like that for daily operations. So always an interesting battle with every nonprofit is sustaining their status quo. So thank you, Ginger Chin. What a great talk she gave, and she'll be back. Basically, Marty was telling us that in her cognitive study of astronauts, all of them over age 70, for a good reason in her database, that once you get over 70, Marty, you basically don't care what the hell you say, okay? Because you know you're on the backside of this beautiful thing called life. And then when you get in your 80s, it's even worse. So Marty's not like that. Marty's always a gentleman. My dad didn't care in his 80s what he said to anybody. He didn't want to offend anybody, but it's just you don't have the layers of peer pressure and opinion, I think, for what you say. So Ginger came up with a theory that astronauts, Marty, are born with the right stuff and don't necessarily develop it in their cognitive thinking of things. So a very interesting interview, and you're going to enjoy it when you go back and watch it. All right. We gave Shannon Walker some love. She is an active astronaut. Let's just go back and look at her real quick there, smiling after her 163 days in space on the International Space Station on this June 2010 launch of the Soyuz TMA-19. And there's Ginger. And Shane Kimbrough, happy 58th birthday. He was commander of Commercial Crew 2, was born in Killeen, Texas. So 2 Texans born today on June 4th. He's a veteran of 3 space flights, the first being a space shuttle flight, the second being a 6-month mission to the ISS on board the Soyuz spacecraft, and then commander of Commercial Crew 2 on a Crew Dragon. Kimbrough flew STS-126 was the shuttle flight he was on. He is one of the most experienced spacewalkers with 9 spacewalks to his credit, 60 hours in space. You go about 7 hours a spacewalk. You could go 7 to 8 hours. So if you said he did 9 and you guessed he'd been in 8 hours times 9 is 72, or 7 times 9 is 63. And yeah, he has spent over 60 hours in space. And but there he is, just kind of laid back with the spacewalking suits there. Marty, he came up with a, he was on a NASA program, and on a video, Kimbrough gave 5 things people don't know about him. And remind me, because the next astronaut we interview, Marty, let's ask them give us 3 things people don't know about you. And it'll probably be Winston Scott in July when he's here with the Japanese. I'm not very aggressive interviewing astronauts on the program. I would like to be, but it's really getting them there for the show. We want them is very difficult, particularly the astronauts out at this Space Center. we've done a few like Charlie Walker and um, John Harrington and on and on. But and we've done all the locals at least once. So we know you like those interviews, but I love interviewing space workers like Terry White monthly and people like that. So anyway, we will ask astronauts things that people don't know about him. Shane Kimbrough, here's his five. He went to elementary school in Germany. Okay. He is childhood friends with Julia Roberts. They have been friends since middle school and high school in Smyrna, Georgia. Though he was born in Killeen, Texas, that's of course is a uh, uh, Air Force community there. Let me go that way. And Shane Kimbrough was friends with Julia Roberts. How much fun is that? Uh, and he was a U.S. Army jump master and an Apache helicopter pilot. Number 4, he loves all sports. And 5, he has a passion for teaching youth the Bible at his church. So there's 5 things you don't know about birthday boy Shane Kimbrough there. So laid back. So happy birthday, Shane Kimbrough and Shannon Walker today. And as usual, we have that on our Facebook page, where we anchor that a lot with astronaut birthdays. There's a picture of Shane, Julia Roberts. Maybe he had a crush on her, you think, in elementary school. There's Shane right there, old school way, when his SpaceX and then out in public. And he's still an astronaut, I believe, today. All right, I got a lot of peanut butter here to show you as I went back through some images. Just every time I do a search in my computer, certain things come up, and I'm going, wow, look at that, Marty. In 2021, June, about that time period, there's Evelyn Stein and Buzzy, Mikhail Buswell, 2 Via space engineers, and that I see out at the campus here in Cocoa, Florida. But we had a fun drive, free admission with peanut butter or jelly, and gave it to the local food bank. And there's the food bank lady over on the left there. I forgot her name.
Her name is Kathleen Roth Algiera.
All right, thank you, Marty. Kathleen uh, was happy to get all that peanut butter and jelly, and we need to probably start advertising that again. We would take this backdrop behind us, and now it's in our gallery. That's going to be our space memorabilia store in our gift shop. And Marty, good old days. Look at the paneling on the wall.
Yep.
Back there. We got rid of the paneling that was so 1970s, and now have had Chuck Jeffrey paid for that, our auctioneer and board member, and great guy, paid for to have the drywall back there. So good old days. That was almost 4 years ago, Marty, 2021. Well, by golly, that is going to be 4 years ago, any way you look at it, right? So a little retro toss back there. Stay curious. And we haven't changed. We've been true to form. We haven't changed much about it, really. Space history, interviews with space workers like these 2 young engineers for Via Space, Evelyn and Buzzy. 10 humans are orbiting the Earth right now. 633 humans in all eternity, as the late public affairs officer of Kennedy Space Center, Hugh Harris, used to say. 83 women in all eternity have orbited the Earth, and that's catching up in percentages. It's not going to on this next flight for newbies, but we have Commander and recent Hall of Fame inductee Peggy Whitson on her 6th flight to space. Okay, that will tie Americans Jerry Ross and Franklin Chang Diaz. They have 7 each, I believe. So she'll be catching up with them. That's right. It's not, they have 7 and she'll have 6. All right, so beside them there is the Hungarian astronaut Tibor on the right in the blue suit there. The shorter gentleman there is the Indian astronaut Shabushu Shakula. All right, and an Indian astronaut is in there is going to be called a Vyumanot. Vyumanot, Vyumanot. There are 4 Vyumanauts in training, and he'll be the first one of them to go to space, but not the first Indian. That honor goes 41 years ago to Sharma uh, astronaut. What's his first name? Rakesh Sharma, who went on a Soyuz spacecraft and stayed on a Soyuz spacecraft and stayed on the Salyut space station in April 1984. I think he had 8 days in space there. So Shukla will definitely eclipse that. They're going to try to spend up to 10 days there. And the other astronaut is from ESA in Poland, Sławomir Winunski. He's got 2 last names, Wisniewski. All right. And we can't wait to have Alex Carl on, maybe tomorrow, maybe later this week, maybe after the launch. He said he's very busy right now as a ES Eurocom supporting the ESA astronaut and the first Hungarian to go to space since the fall of the Soviet Union. These 3 are all rookies. Peggy is the experienced one. They are flying the maiden flight of the Crew Dragon known as C-213, the 5th and potentially final Crew Dragon to be built. I forget the name of it. Don't know what name it. I know it's got a name. One of you will tell me what the name of this Crew Dragon. So this is a maiden flight shakedown of a Crew Dragon that they are reused. I think this is the 12th human flight in the queue for SpaceX's Crew Dragon, and I think one of them has been in there 4 times in flight. So don't have my facts on that. Steve Jokem's little help there. Name of this maiden Crew Dragon flight, and the other 4. How many times has who's flown the most? I know one's Endeavor. One's, I'm not going to guess the names without my notes here. That kind of day. Hello, RG Jubilee. Thank you for watching. And Marvel Luca Empire 33. I see Titusville. Well, we don't see you, but we're glad that you're seeing me and Marty behind the scenes here. Dave's saying, he says he can't wait for the online store to open. Good. Save your money, Dave. Don't spend it all on our store. We want to see it shuttle fast there. So,
Hey, Mark.
yes, Marty.
The final Crew Dragon capsule C-213 is
Yeah.
named Dragon.
It's called what?
Dragon.
Oh, they're calling it Dragon?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't see that. Oh, you looked it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Did my little research there. Okay. They're calling it Dragon. Might be the final one built of this production. There'll be a 2.0 probably. Or what they really want to do is go to the space station on the Starship. Okay. They want to demonstrate that they can do that before they go to the moon, I'm sure. So, but we're 0 for 3 on the last Dragon, or on the last Starship, fulfilling its mission profile. They put a good spin on it. SpaceX does. After all, they're building these starships just like a DC-10 in the 1950s, cranking them out. I heard Jared Isaacman say that he was friends with Elon Musk and he was supporting him financially, and they would just be a production line of these up there. And as each one is contoured a little bit differently with heat shields and other things on them. So these starships, I'm confident will work, Marty. It took Elon Musk SpaceX company 19 tries to stick the first landing of a Falcon 9. And how many landings are we up to now, Marty? Incredibly, would you believe, like 450 landings. And Falcon 9 is going to land at landing zone 1 and 2. That'll be the last time they use that landing zone, as it's going to be taken over by Via Space, our local hometown company that has using plastic as fuel, inert plastic, ignited and controllable, that it can be turned off and on for a solid rocket rocket. Solid rocket using solid rocket fuels. That is amazing, and the military's got their eye on that for sure. Now, Steve, there's a name for well, yes, usually the crew helps choose the maiden flight name, but they've got Endeavor, they've got, I think Perseverance might be a name of a crew dragon. Marty, look up the names of the crew dragons there on Wikipedia. But this Axiom mission is the 4th mission for the Axiom crew, for Axiom, the company. This is Peggy's 2nd command of an Axiom flight, and Lopez Allegra commanded the other 2, and I got to meet him. He's hoping to have a 3rd Axiom flight. The launch is Tuesday at 8:22 a.m. They've just moved it from Monday, and thank you, CB, for keeping me up on that. Marty, the names of those dragons.
Yeah, Endeavor, Resilience, and Endurance.
Endeavor, Resilience, and Endurance.
Yes.
And so they say this is the 5th spacecraft. I thought it might be just the 4th. Okay. Does it give which one's flown the most? They say how many flights they've made each on that. At any rate, we will be adding them. This number will grow to 14, hopefully Tuesday, and we'll have 636 humans orbiting the Earth. And Peggy's already orbited, so she's not, this is different human beings, not tickets punched, as I like to say. And we've got the Shenzhou 20, 3 astronauts aboard the Tiangong Heavenly Palace there. We've got 3 that went up on MS Soyuz 27, including Johnny Kim. All right, they've been up there now. I didn't write the date. I wrote that down, so that's immaterial. So they've been up there over about 60 days now. Launched April 8th. And Crew Dragon 10 was launched March 14th. And I'm not sure which spacecraft is up there. I'm going to guess Resilience. But, and the Tiangong astronauts have been up there since April 24th. So all these crews going to be switching out in about 5 months. And this is Expedition 73 up there, incredibly. And just 25 years in November will be the first expedition crew to go to the International Space Station. Marty, thanks for efforting that. If you can't find it, we'll dig that out of the annuals of data tomorrow up there, buddy. It's something we will talk about Monday for sure, as everyone gets excited about launching another crew from pad, what's it going to be? Pad 39B, 39A is where they'll be launching from. So this is a Falcon 9 that I'm not sure how many times that Falcon 9's been launched. That'd be interesting to know also. It's their Block 5, their newest one there. So, all right, let's get off of the astronauts and looking skyward to the moon, as I'm sure all of you will be catching. The moon is 9 days old, Marty, today. So what does that mean to you? Looking at our chart there, 7 days old was first quarter. All right. That was oh, technically yesterday. It was more like right after midnight. So the moon is like 8.5 days, 8 days, 9 days old. So as you see, it's just going past the first quarter phase. We've not seen it in the sky because it's been kind of cloudy here lately. I've seen a hint of it punching through the clouds there, but full moon is going to be on the 11th of the month. Next Tuesday will be full moon. All right. So that June full moon is called the what's one of the full moon names for June? It's not the flower moon. That's May. June is a so I think it might be called the sturgeon moon in some countries, Native American countries. But I'll look that up. The full moon of June. I should know it. It's could be the bee moon with all the bees floating around, right? Flying around. So this is to speak like an astronomer is to know the moon phases and say it's 9 days old. So that means that it's going to be pretty bright in the sky, and therefore the brightness of the moon washes out the fainter stars and fainter galaxies and nebula. They're there, and you can still see them, but not with the fine definition and contrast as if the moon was not there in the sky. But the moon's going to land. And let me look up here on my app, see what time the moon's going to set. So with moon set, let me go here to that app. My Phases of the Moon is an app I have on Android. And moon rises at 2:41, so it's already up in the sky right now, and it's going to set at 2:46 a.m. So if you were going to do some serious deep sky observing with a telescope visually, you would be able to start doing 1 o'clock. The moon would be low in the west, 1 a.m., and not interfere with things that are in the east there. Go ahead, Marty.
Okay, excuse me, Endeavour made 5 flights, Resilience 4, and Endurance 3.
All right, Endeavour 5, Resilience 4, and what was the other one?
Endurance.
Endurance. 3 flights. So that makes 7, that makes 12. And this maiden flight of, we don't know the name of this spacecraft, is it'll be its maiden flight there. And yes, that's what I was trying to grab. Thank you, Steve Jokums. The full moon next Tuesday is the strawberry moon. And you know why I don't remember that, Marty, much down here in Florida? Because strawberry season is in March here, isn't it? And blueberry picking and strawberry picking is March. They have a big festival over there in Lakeland or somewhere around there. They have a big festival over there in the Tampa area also for strawberries. But yeah, June. So you all enjoy your strawberries up there in Illinois, Steve Jokums, and up there in Michigan, Dave Stange. Go ahead, Marty.
Blueberry is really April.
Okay.
It starts in late March, but major season is April.
Exactly. And Jubilee mentions burning fuel. Plastic for fuel isn't a good idea because of cancer, but they've got that under control. And you've got these solid rocket boosters that are on the Atlas V and others that they're launching here. So not at all environmentally friendly to the environment, the animals, and maybe the atmosphere. Nonetheless, it's something we have to deal with, so we do. But I'll mention that with Via Space. The moon will look like this maybe tomorrow night, all right, when it's 10 days old. A photo I took. But if you take photos of the moon like this one, please balance your image photography exposure for the Maria, the dark areas. You don't want to see a flashlight, just a big bright flashlight in the sky a lot of people have. Well, how you control that is with your camera settings. So you might have to take it off of automatic. But the automatic setting would probably give you this great image here. But I made sure the f-stop and the shutter speed were such that you could see the dark seas on our side of the moon. And this is, I would, at 400 ISO, it's probably f8 at 400th of a second, maybe 500th of a second. If you don't see the dark Maria, go higher on your exposure. At 400, go to 500th of a second, then 700th of a second or whatever, 1,000th of a second. You can experiment a little bit there. So, and a photographer never forgets where they took a picture, and this was on the campus of Florida State University in Cocoa, outside the planetarium that's not there anymore. Yes, Marty.
We have a question from Mark Geiger. Mark, have you seen solar eclipse in person, and where?
Have I seen what? Please.
Solar eclipse in person.
I have seen the solar eclipse in person twice, the 2017 and 2024. The only ones I've seen, I was going to go to Aruba and see one, and that didn't work out. And I've seen a lot of partial eclipses, but I will never forget standing with my 90-year-old mother last year in Findlay, Ohio, my hometown, where astronomy started for me, and we saw an amazing total eclipse there that across the flatlands of northwest Ohio. It was really something to see. It was clear, beautiful, and got to see it with my mom, who bought me my first telescope. I see Marvel, Luca, Empire 33 is asking me, in my opinion, what's my favorite space documentary? And thank you for questions, as I love it on a day like today where I'm kind of freewheeling here. Space documentaries, quite frankly, the Tom Hanks documentaries of with Andy Chalkin's direction advice on it are quite excellent. The Man to the Moon, or Man on the Moon, a series of about 8 different tell stories of each lunar mission, even the unmanned ones. Favorite space documentaries, that's really a good one. I have to think about that. Haven't given that much thought. Any of the NASA ones are really good, and I'm talking about the VHS days of NASA's stories that once they were told on there. But the Man to the Moon series that was done with Tom Hanks's help, or just and they kind of mirrored Andy Chalkin's Bible book of Man on the Moon or Man in Space. I'm trying to look it over there on my shelf there to see what it was called. So someone will tell me Andy Chalkin's book there. So thanks for that question. From Earth to the Moon. Yes, from Earth to the Moon. Connie McDaniel, thank you for straightening me out there. Both total eclipses, Cliff Watson saw those, and we met Cliff Watson through that. What was the other question, Marty?
That was all.
Oh, okay. And hey, Jim McDade, thank you for joining us today. Great to see you at Zorella's. That was some cocktail challenge, wasn't it, Jim? You didn't know there was a $1,200 martini out. No, actually, Charlie Bolden paid $2,200, $2,200 for a martini that Michael Lopez Allegra made. And of course, it was a fundraiser for the Astronaut Scholarship Foundation. Katie Coleman's drink went for like $600 to $800, and the winner, Bob Cabana, His drink went for $1,000 or $1,100 and or more, I think $1,600. And Scooter, Scott Altman, his drink, which was a good bourbon that I voted for, went for some crazy money. But the money wasn't about the martini, it was about supporting the scholarships that the Scholarship Foundation, founded by the Mercury astronauts, did. And Jim McDade, did you know that it's on the website of the ASF? But Wally Schirra is quoted as saying, the Astronaut Scholarship Foundation may be the greatest legacy of the amazing Mercury 7 astronauts. So thank you, Jim, and thank you for staying curious. And he enjoys the program. Marty's a very smart space geek living in Huntsville, Alabama. And if Jim McDade thinks you're doing a good job, that's good enough for me, y'all out there. So Miss Word is on there. She's saying 2001: A Space Odyssey. We're talking about documentaries, not necessarily movies and that were done out there. And Marvel Lucas says the Apollo 11 documentary mastered is good. Yes, that is. If in fact, if that's the one that opens up with a helicopter flying around the Apollo 11 on the pad, that I love that one myself on there. There was a great PBS documentary done when we were Apollo, okay, by the Miami documentary people. I enjoyed that a lot. Had a lot of our favorite people like you, Hazel Banks, in it. Hazel was Hazel Seacack back in the Apollo days, a secretary at the Flight Crew Training Building.
And Mark Usiak is saying Last Man on the Moon.
Good. I'll go for yes with Gene Cernan. I was trying to bring Tommy. I was trying to bring that to foreground there. That Tom and yes, Gene Cernan is looking real cool in a leather jacket and talking about that was a good one also. Enjoy that a lot. And so yeah, the that is the one. Marvel Luca, yes, that is excellent. The Apollo 11 documentary where they started with that, it was remastered. Treated the Apollo 1 fire like they all do, with very great reverence in that. So great talking to y'all here as we were trying to get into a little bit of stargazing from the backyard, but you're going to be doing some moon gazing, and you can download a map that will show you the 6 landing sites as well as the dozen other places where earthlings have polluted the moon with lots of debris. I did a program one time. I'll revisit that, Marty. I think there's something like 600 tons of debris on the surface of the moon from unmanned and manned probes. And this is what the beautiful, get you some moonshine this weekend, folks. Go out tonight and drink in a little moonshine. It's the only kind of moonshine you can't get too much of. And I've had some Tennessee moonshine, but that was quite a while ago. You can download at skymaps.com. This is their Facebook page. I have no affiliation with them, but I need to because I really enjoy their website. They have a lot of great advertising there. There's the telescope to buy. That is a telescope that you literally just throw outside. It is completely computerized, GPS. It's has the you can get the 35 and the 50. It's about like having a monocular, one binocular, but it's incredible because it downloads images every 10 seconds, every 30 seconds, whatever you choose, layers them, processes them. Bingo. You're seeing M13, the Great Globular Cluster, before your eyes. And these will get bigger, I guarantee you, but they're very affordable. This is a $350 investment, I think, if you can see there. But the site itself has a map of the evening sky. Here is June evening sky that is early June around 11 p.m. or later in the month about 10 p.m. Okay. And so the Milky Way is the blue line that's just starting to rise above the eastern horizon. I was out at the beach during the scholarship foundation at I think it was about 10 o'clock, and the Milky Way was pretty. I could see it pretty good above the ocean up there, and that's a good place to watch it over the ocean where there's no light pollution. Well, first, this tells us the constellations. Hercules is about directly overhead. And as you see in the middle, it's a square box that looks like SpongeBob SquarePants, the cartoon character. You see maybe a little kite there in the middle. That's Bootes. The Big Dipper is looking north, which us looking up at Dave Stange and to the north. Him up in Michigan. The Big Dipper is way high up there, pouring its contents over the landscape. Yes, Marty.
Yeah, Jim McDade is, I'm not sure if he's really asking a question or making a comment, but it's a good one. When will we ever have a feature film about the amazing Ed White and his incredible Gemini 4 EVA?
That would be awesome. Yesterday was Ed White Day, the first American spacewalk, about 6 weeks after Lexi Leonoff in March did the same thing. But if we'd known how difficult it was for Alexei and that his spacesuit ballooned out. But yes, Jim and an amazing Ed White and Jim McDivitt, who just passed away. Jim was in his mid-90s, an incredible astronaut. We need a whole documentary about the Gemini space program. As I talk all the time, we didn't know if you could swallow if you would your heart just stop after a week in space, stop beating because it needed gravity in some way. And Gemini checked off all the boxes, as we say, of rendezvous, eating, sleeping, eliminating your human waste, which is not fun to talk about, but a necessary human thing. And that would be very, very awesome. And 60 years ago, Jim, was the Gemini 4 spacewalk. We've got a beautiful picture of it back in our offices there, a big, like 2 foot by 3 foot image of it that was printed at the time 60 years ago and still looking great in there. So thank you all for your input here and sharing the way we do. A space movie with the music of Michael Oldfield would be awesome, Mike Bruno says. Marty, you probably don't know Mike Oldfield's music, but I certainly remember buying the vinyl Tubular Bells at the record shop, and it was all instrumental, but it was the music. A part of that music is what the Exorcist music is on that very, very scary movie of the time, reaching back to 1976, 77, 78, maybe for The Exorcist, back in the last century. Yeah, the mesmerizing images of Gemini 4 EVA appeared in large format news magazine called Life and Look, giving a Beatlemania-like enthusiasm about spaceflight. It certainly did. And you baby boomers know Life and Look were oversized, big, like 11 by 14 size instead of an 8 by 10 Newsweek and Time magazine. There's a lot of those Colliers and some of these other magazines of the day just were really cool at how they depicted space travel there. So, well, I put up the slide here, noctalgia, meaning sky grief, and that's what I suffer every time I go outside. Because in reality, your urban backyard, you can see probably third magnitude stars, all right? And that's somewhere, this is showing you how the Milky Way looks in what the astronomers call Bortle, a gentleman's arbitrary scale of the sky. And Bortle 5 is really dark sky, or no, Bortle 1 is what you achieve. Bortle 6 and 7 means you're not going to see anything. You're in an urban area there. And as you get the idea of it there as we crescendo across there, the Bortle sky map there, the Milky Way in the city, suburbs, rural, and excellent in the middle of nowhere near Mitch Rothman in West Colorado. Mitch, the Milky Way is rising about 9 or 10 o'clock. The moon will kind of blot it out a little bit, unless you've got insomnia or you have to go to the bathroom. Go out and look at 3 in the morning, and you'll see the beautiful Milky Way as like this excellent over here. But this is called light pollution. It's not only a factor of noctalgia, sky grief for a stargazer like me, but it also affects animal life in more ways than you can imagine. Birds fly into buildings in New York City because they can't see the stars to navigate by. All right. Some birds have kind of a magnetic resonance in them, that they go by the magnetic poles. But animals do use the stars here to get around here on the Space Coast. It's the turtles, what I'm trying to say. The sea turtles are laying their eggs now, and when those eggs hatch, the young hatchlings go to the ocean because of starlight or moonlight, but they're actually seeing the Milky Way when they're born here over the next few months. The Milky Way is so bright and reflects off the water that the young turtles go to the ocean that way. Well, they haven't been. They've been going to the parking lot behind the Cocoa Beach Hilton and other places, all right? That's the light that they think is the starlight that leads them to the ocean. And no, therefore, the Cocoa Beach Pier actually has red lights everywhere when you go to it. It's bathed in red lights because red is like a dark room to a photographer. Red light, you can see, does not hurt the paper that you're developing. It can hurt the film, but so the same principle is it's not attractive to turtles, and therefore they still go out to the ocean because of the light that the Milky Way is shining up and reflective off of there. So, very serious thing with other species that can't hunt, can't mate, and get run over, thinking they're going in the right direction to the light of over an ocean or such. Our Milky Way galaxy that we talk about looks like this. Edge on, it's maybe 100 light years across, about 25 light years thick. Have a bulge in the middle. We also have this bar that is we're not sure if our Milky Way galaxy will evolve into a tighter spiral, so to speak, or go out longer. But we've got a couple gigantic arms coming off of it, one called the Perseus arm that we're located in, our sun you see there, and we're way out at the edge of the Milky Way. If we were closer in the center, yes, we would have more stars in our sky. And our backdrop here is of what we think the Milky Way is warped a little bit. Warp drive, creating a Milky Way, and we've seen other galaxies like this, but this is a artist rendition based on photography of the Milky Way, not just X-rays, radio waves, other ways that we look at our surroundings that we can't, like a drone, go out and photograph. It would take maybe 1,000,000 years to get out to this point here to see this. So very interesting that our Milky Way concept of it continues to evolve. And 120 years ago, we thought this was the universe until great men like Edwin Hubble, and of course Einstein and Edwin Hubble and other astronomers. I'm trying to think of the names. Jastro's one, early astronomers around Hubble's time. But that was Hubble's great contribution, was he figured out that the Andromeda galaxy wasn't a nebula of gas. It was a oasis of stars like our Milky Way, and huge. That the New York Times reported more than one universe was found, okay, as the Milky Way and all the stars we saw were thought to be of the universe. And then we realized that the stars of the Andromeda Galaxy were 2 million light years away, and our Milky Way is about 100,000 light years across. A pretty picture I took of the Milky Way during the Texas Star Party when in 2016, something like that. I was out there. I moved here shortly afterwards. It is spectacular under dark skies in Big Bend, Texas, where the Texas Star Party is conducted. That is just a single image, not taken up for about, a minute, probably 3 minutes at the most. I think I had a tracking platform on it, but not too long because that tree would start being blurred by the movement of the camera, matching the motion of the earth and therefore making those stars nice and tight. So one of my brag book photos of the Milky Way there, that you got to get pretty dark skies to see that. So, well, again, thank you, the Ramanujams, for their financial support of our museum and Stay Curious. You can also do that by going to our website and going up to the yellow bar at the top in one of the trays up there that says donate. And you can have a drop down menu there on PayPal to give us some money, and we hope you can get a receipt from it there, so it can be a tax deductible donation to our nonprofit. So, and Mitch Rothman has created a drop. We've created a drop down for Mitch Rothman and his manned space to raise money for our soon to be renovated space memorabilia store, where we want to become a local place for people to stop in, not have to pay the $10 to get in the museum, but also to come in and buy space memorabilia from $10 to $100 or more dollars we'll have here in our store. So I'm looking over here and thanking Jim McDade. You met Frank Parker, who put together Jim McDade saying the handheld maneuvering unit, which I'm always in awe at when I'm looking at it at the Apollo 1 Memorial, just beyond where the lunar module number 9 is, a real lunar module that was going to be used on Apollo 15, and they went to lunar module 10 that had a rover ability to take the rover on it there. And if you want to know more about that, Marty Winkle is your guy to give you the tour there, and you will definitely know the difference between Inconel, Kapton foil, and Mylar on that spacecraft there. So, well, thank you all for watching today. Great to see that Mark Usiak made it home okay. And while Cliff Watson says he saw Mike Oldfield play Tubular Bells, that would be very interesting, and hope your mind was right for that one. That had to be pretty heady in itself, so don't believe everything you saw in the right stuff there, Cliffy. Go to the NASA documentary we're talking about. There, From Earth to the Moon there. So. Yeah, when we were Apollo is a very good one, Steve Jokins, because it features a lot of our local space workers in it. And one of them, I'm thinking of Jim, who got teary-eyed on that, Marty? That was
Besides you?
who?
Besides you?
Besides me, yes, yeah, besides me. One of the he's very involved with the Rocket Ranch reunion. Not Bill Hank, but his daughter is also a space worker, and you'd know him if I said it, but that don't matter. As long as they stay true to the facts, ma'am, just the facts, and a lot of those facts were done up dug up by Andy Chalkin in his wonderful book. So thank you all for watching today. We'll see if we can effort anybody from ESA on the show, as I know a few of them floating around here. And but we'll look up a little bit more space history, maybe reprise a little Gemini for you there, Jim McDade, as June 3rd also had a very infamous Gemini flight, and that was Gemini 9, also known as Gemini 9A. And let's talk about that tomorrow. I had a Facebook post, a twofer on Gemini. Gemini 3 and Gemini 9 launched on June 3rd, a year apart. And because of our guest Ginger Chin yesterday, I didn't get to reprise that. So if we don't have anything coming up, we'll do that. As Gemini 9 was one that a close call for Gene Cernan on his spacewalk. And there might be some serendipity there that he didn't try that astronaut maneuvering unit that he was going to do. He just got too exhausted and never made it back there. So thank you all for watching. I'm Mark Marquette saying we can't wait to see you in our museum like our Hungarian friends were here today, all to bridge the space between us. Thanks a lot.